Please help me reach 2,000 subscribers. If you enjoyed the video, tap the like button and share your thoughts in the comments. I read every single one. Thank you. When my wife came through the door that night, she didn't look like the woman I had married. Her hair was tangled, her lipstick streaked across her mouth, and alcohol clung to her breath. The sharp click of her heels dragging across the floor rang through the hallway, loud and jarring, like a warning I wished I could ignore. She didn't even meet my eyes. Dropping her bag without care, she muttered something about being exhausted and disappeared into the bedroom. 4 years, my trust in her had never wavered. Her name was Lauren. To friends, family, everyone, she was the ideal partner. Warm, driven, dependable. The kind of wife people admired. But watching her collapse onto the bed that night, I felt something inside me quietly crack. I wanted to tell myself it meant nothing. Just a rough evening. Yet her dress hung partially undone, and one earring was gone. Those details spoke louder than any excuse ever could. I remained in the living room for hours, staring at the closed bedroom door, hoping she'd wake up and tell me there was a reasonable explanation. Instead, my thoughts spiraled. She'd said she was meeting co-workers. She stopped replying after midnight. Her phone went straight to voicemail. The quiet between us became suffocating. When morning light finally slipped through the blinds, I still hadn't slept. I heard her stir, the soft groan of someone waking with a pounding headache and fading memories. I stepped into the bedroom silently, holding the small silver earring I had found near the entryway. She squinted up at me, clearly confused. "Why are you just standing there?" she asked, rubbing her face. I didn't respond right away. I set the earring down beside her on the nightstand and spoke calmly. "This doesn't belong to you." Her face went blank. Her mouth opened, but nothing came out. Then she followed my gaze downward, and all the color drained from her skin. Her dress was still partly unfastened. The scent of a man's cologne, one I didn't own, hung in the room. In that instant, she understood that I already knew. She sat upright, pulling the blanket close as if it could shield her. I don't remember much," she said shakily. "We were drinking. I must have." I stopped her. "You must have what, Lauren? Ended up in someone else's bed by accident." Her eyes filled with tears, but I felt nothing. No anger. No shouting. Just an empty hollow where emotion should have been. She reached toward me, but I stepped away. "Please," she murmured. "Let me explain." I searched her face, hoping to see even a glimpse of the woman I once loved. Instead, I saw a stranger, someone who had carried her betrayal back into our home. That morning, she went completely still. Not because she remembered everything, but because she finally grasped what she had ruined. She sat shaking on the bed, covering her face with her hands, as if hiding might undo the damage. I wanted to speak. I wanted to scream. But no sound came. Each breath felt thick, polluted by the truth pressing down on us. "I never wanted this to happen," she sobbed. "It was just one stupid mistake." A quiet, bitter laugh escaped me. "Forgetting our anniversary is a mistake, Lauren." I paused, forcing myself to stay calm. "What you did was a decision." She looked up, eyes swollen and bloodshot. "We've been distant, David. You've been so cold. I thought you didn't care anymore." The word stung, but not enough to justify what she'd done. "So that's it?" I asked softly. "You thought I stopped caring, so you let someone else fill that space, for one night?" Her lips quivered. She had nothing to say. And in that silence, I finally understood something important. Sadness passes. Disappointment doesn't. She reached for me again, whispering my name like it still held meaning. I stepped back. "Don't," I said firmly. "You don't get to touch me anymore." I walked into the kitchen, hoping distance would clear my thoughts, but every corner of the house reminded me of her. Her favorite coffee cup sat on the counter. The handwritten reminders she used to stick on the refrigerator were still there. Even her perfume lingered in the air. 4 years, my world had been shaped around her existence. And in a single night, she had shattered everything I believed was real. She trailed behind me, hesitant, her voice unsteady. "David, please." I was drunk. I wasn't in my right mind. I stopped and turned toward her. Then answer this, Lauren, I said calmly. If you were so out of it, why did you keep your phone out of my sight last night? Why were the messages erased before you walked through that door? Her eyes went wide. She hadn't expected that. The fear written across her face told me all I needed to know. You looked through my phone, she asked, forcing offense into her tone. I checked the phone of the woman I married who came home smelling like someone else, I said flatly. You can decide if that's unreasonable. That was when she collapsed. Her legs gave out, and she slid down to the floor, sobbing without control. I wanted to leave. I truly did. But my body refused to cooperate. Somewhere deep inside, a small part of me still wished she'd offer something, anything, that could make this hurt less. But there was nothing left to hold on to. The room filled with silence and shame, thick and suffocating, like smoke after a fire dies out. I stood there watching her cry, knowing nothing she said could undo the damage. The woman I once planned a future with had become nothing more than a symbol of regret. The longer I watched her, the more the truth settled in. She wasn't devastated by what she'd done. She was terrified because she'd been exposed. She wiped her face, her voice trembling. Can we talk about this later? I can't even think straight right now. I shook my head slowly. No, Lauren. You had the entire night to think. You had time before you leaned into his arms, before you decided that a moment of excitement was more important than our promises. Her gaze dropped to the floor. Shame covered her face, but my sympathy was gone. I walked to the closet and pulled out her suitcase. You should stay somewhere else for a while, I said. Maybe distance will help you clear your head. Panic rushed over her. She grabbed my arm. Please don't do this. It meant nothing. I was drunk. I was an idiot. I pulled my arm away. If it meant nothing, I said quietly, why does it hurt this badly? She crumbled again, crying even harder. David, I love you. Please don't let this be the end. I looked at her, my chest splitting in ways I didn't know were possible. It ended the moment you decided someone else deserved the place I held. I turned away, my lungs burning with anger and grief tangled together. Later that evening, I sat on the couch, staring at our wedding photograph. The smiles we wore that day felt cruel now, almost mocking. I thought about all the times I had stood up for her, all the late nights I'd brushed off, the trips that never made sense, the long gaps of silence I chose not to question. Maybe I had known all along. I just refused to face it. The next morning, she packed her belongings without a word. No arguments. No explanations. Only the sound of a zipper closing and the quiet finality of goodbye. When she walked out, I didn't chase her. Weeks went by. The house felt hollow, yet oddly calm. Then one afternoon, an envelope arrived in the mail. It was from her. Inside was a short message. You didn't deserve what I did. I hope one day you find peace. I folded the note once and placed it on the counter. I didn't need closure from her. I had already reached it on my own. Because sometimes betrayal is the moment you start rediscovering yourself. And when she woke up that morning and froze, she wasn't really looking at me.